Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? I don't think I've ever seen the rendition of the national anthem. This is a first, but it's pretty sweet. Very unique. I don't think I've ever seen the national anthem before. So shout out to the Bay Area. That's pretty cool. But yes, welcome everyone. We are going to be watching Grizzlies at Warriors, but we'll probably be switching over to that Nuggets Spurs game and maybe checking out the other games as well. Because, in all honesty, usually I try to plan these streams out about a week in advance, figure out which games I think look interesting. And on paper, last week I was like, Warriors Grizzlies, that looks like a fun game. Unfortunately, Stephen Curry's not playing. John Morant's not playing. A bunch of other guys aren't playing. The Grizzlies are decimated. The only person who's worth watching on Golden State is injured. Although, Jonathan Kuminga's playing. So that'll be fun. But yeah, this matchup might not be as fun as I thought it would be. But there's still some interesting stuff out there. Like I think Zach Edey is fun to watch. Is he leading the Rookie of the Year race? He's definitely in there. Jaren Jackson Jr. is having an awesome season. And yeah, I mean, we get to see Jonathan Kuminga, we get to see some Draymond Green, some Dennis Schroeder. But yeah, oh yes, the Spurs Nuggets game last night was incredible. Jokic had what 41 and 18. Wemby had like 38 and 18 or something crazy, something around there. They both went crazy. So we'll be probably switching over and watching that for a decent amount of the night, depending on how this game goes. We'll switch back and forth, but there's a couple other NBA games on too that will be this will be a night where we definitely surf League Pass. That's why I titled this one a little differently, because who knows, maybe this Warriors Grizzlies game will be amazing, but we're probably going to switch it around. But thank you everyone for being here. Hopefully we'll get at least a good game somewhere. That's right, Cavs legend Sean Kemp. Many people forget Sean Kemp spent his his the dog days in Cleveland. I don't know if he had any memorable moments in a Cavs uniform. Nothing rings a bell, but he certainly suited up for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, you can see Buddy Hield play basketball. I'm a fan of Gary Payton, the second, and Gary Payton Sr., but I like Gary Payton the second. So there's definitely some stuff worth watching here. When he signed that dotted line, that was the highlight for him for sure. And also, I went ahead and found a couple just random NBA articles that I'll share with you guys throughout, like during timeouts and stuff. I have some interesting stuff to pull. We got some Jimmy Butler hypothetical trades. We got power rankings. Just a couple other things to keep us entertained throughout the stream. So hopefully it'll be a good one. Just me tonight, no Jackson, but holding it down. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. It doesn't feel like Saturday. I was saying this earlier. This is the most Sunday feeling Saturday I think I've ever had, but Saturday night watching some NBA. Actually going to go ahead and skip over. We're just going to skip to that Nuggets game right now because I don't care about the starting lineups. We'll come back to Warriors Grizzlies in a minute. Let's see what's going on. I haven't even checked the score. I know this game started about 30 minutes ago. All right, close game. 6-point game. Feel bad for Jokic, man. I feel real bad for him. It sucks. I was thinking about this last night, but if you try to think, like, who I would say Jokic is the best player in the world right now. I would say Giannis is probably the second best. And it's kind of crazy. When's the last time the two best players in the world weren't on, like, because I mean, like, the Nuggets have a chance at winning the title, the Bucks have a chance at winning the title, but neither of them are anywhere near being favorites. Feels like it's been a while since that was the case, where the two best players in the world weren't on, like, legit. They're legit contenders, but they're not really legit contenders, if you know what I mean. Just the parity in the NBA was what my mind was on. It's so interesting because if you just look at the two teams, even the three teams who are the favorites, right? Like I think it's Cleveland, Boston, and OKC. Shea's probably the best player out of that entire group. Where does he rank in the NBA? He's top five. Certainly, is he third? Is he the third best player in the NBA? Maybe. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. What's going on, Dylan? And we can't get any basketball on everywhere I switch to. We just got whatever the hell's going on here. We'll go back to Warriors, see if they did the jump ball yet. Yeah, we got some Cavs games coming up this week. We can talk about that later. I'm excited. We got the Thunder on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. I think Wednesday, right? Tomorrow, I think they play the Hornets. Slot cars were pretty cool. Last time the Cavs played the Hornets, Evan Mobley had 41. So we'll see if he can do that again. I'd be pretty happy. He had 34 the other night, last night. Great game. Look at that injury list for the Grizzlies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on the injury list. Thunder versus Celtics. Are you saying this regular season matchup that's coming up? Or just like in a hypothetical finals? Tomorrow's game? I'm going to take the Thunder. I'm going to take the Thunder because I want to see them still on their streak when they come to Cleveland. I think it would be more fun if it was because assuming the Cavs win tomorrow as well, the Thunder would be on like a 15-game win streak and the Cavs would be on a 10-game win streak, so that'd be pretty sweet. I'm going to go ahead and close this door real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, had to close the door because the wind. My dog, listen, he's a big boy, but he's a big baby, and the wind closed the door, and Apollo got a little spooked, so I went ahead and just kept it closed for him. I want Celtics just so the Thunder have more gap behind us. Yeah. Well, either way, it kind of works. Whoever loses gives us a little bit of an edge there, so it's a give or take. Right now, I'm feeling comfortable in that first seed, but teams are catching up. Or rather, teams aren't that far behind, I mean. I'm very surprised the Grizzlies, just no matter what happens, even with all the injuries, they still managed to pull out these wins. I believe they're still second in the West. Let me double check that. Second or third. Yeah, 23-12, even with all the injuries. They just keep finding a way. Jaren Jackson's having a great season. Disregard that shot. We got a Draymond 3 right here. Yeah, so no Stephen Curry tonight, no John Morant. We'll see if the Warriors can find a way to generate any offense with this this lineup right now. Dennis Schroeder was having a great year, and there you go. There's a 3. He started off real strong in Brooklyn, so he could certainly give you some juice, and then already 9-2, so good start for Golden State. Go ahead and switch back to that Denver game. We're going to be switching back and forth quick tonight. Try and have some basketball on as much as we can. Wemby. Anytime I can watch Victor Wembanyama play basketball, I'm going to take it. So no matter how many times I watch him, even still, I believe this is 100th. This is game 100 for Wemby, his 100th career NBA game. And still, every time I watch him, I feel like I'm mind blown. I can't process what I'm looking at. He's such a unique player. He's off such an incredible start this year. Basically he's averaging what, like 25. I don't know how many rebounds he's averaging, but he's averaging about 4 blocks per game. I mean, he's just a game-breaking talent. Still shooting probably too many three-pointers. He's at about 9 a game, maybe closer to 10 a game, I think. So you would like to see him get into the paint more often, but he shoots the ball pretty well. And when you're able to space the floor at that position, I mean, he's just ridiculous. He's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, I think. I would love to see Evan Mobley get it, but I think it's tough for Mobley. From Cavs fans' perspective, we understand how impactful he is, But I feel like from the national media perspective, all you hear is like, oh well, it's Mobley and Allen. So he kind of loses some of the credit that he deserves there because he has another elite defensive big next to him. Whereas with Wemby, it's like Wemby gets even more credit for being just this world ending defender, and there's not really any help around him. I mean, they have some decent perimeter pieces, but like it's not like he's playing with enough. He's not playing with Jared Allen, and so I think unfairly, Evan Mobley loses a little bit of ground in this race. 10 teams have had 30 wins and 34 or fewer games. Cavs the 11th team, and the 10 have at least reached the conference finals. So hopefully Cavs can replicate it. Yeah. I mean, when you just look at the history of teams that have, gone 20 or they're 30-4 now, any teams that have started out this strong, history bodes pretty well for them. They basically all go to the conference finals. Many of them win the championship. The Cavs are in great company. They're really having a historic start to the year. We get a step back three. Nope. I don't know any way to play defense against Wemby. Yeah. I mean, when when you have the 7'5" guy shooting a step back three, you'll probably take that as a win for your defense. But the thing is, he's a lethal shooter. So it's like, I don't know how you defend him, how you slow him down. I mean, he's so big that he can get that 3-point shot whenever he wants, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And if he's going to shoot it efficiently, he's not quite where you would want him to be in terms of efficiency right now. I think he's shooting about 35%, but when you consider the volume, that's not too bad. It's definitely lower than what you'd hope. But again, the dude's not even 21 yet, I don't think. Play more physical against him. Yeah, that's going to be something that if the Spurs manage to get to the playoffs, I'll be interested to see how teams choose to defend Wemby across a 7-game series. They try to rough him up a little bit. The thing is, he's so dynamic. He has such great balance, the ball handling, all that it's not too easy to rough him up because he does have a lot of finesse to his game. He doesn't try to play like with brute force or anything. But still, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. I hope that the Spurs manage to squeak out a play-in victory because they'll likely be in the play-in. I think it would be a lot of fun to get Wemby on that stage. When you compare like sophomore seasons in the NBA, it's basically just Wemby and LeBron in terms of how good they've been. And the Spurs have done a good job of getting some veteran talent around Wemby to help raise their floor. I don't know where they finished last year. And there you go. You see, just throw it up to the rim. Throw it anywhere within like a 16-foot radius. He'll go get it somehow. That was actually a good pass, but you take the 3-point shooting and then you remember that he can dunk the ball without jumping too. So it's like if he rolls to the rim and you don't have a guy down there to take away that pass, just all day. And yeah, the Spurs, as I was saying, they've done a good job getting some veteran talent around him. Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes definitely raised their floor and got them to a point where they could be competitive because I don't remember where they finished last year, but I know they were pretty garbage. Like they were a pretty bad team last year. But Wemby's clearly on a different timeline. Like he's ready to start competing, not for a title, but like Wemby's ready to get into the playoff stage already. So I think the Spurs have done a good job of putting some talent around him, not wasting any time, right? Like they could take a very patient approach, and I think they have been patient with Wemby's development. But they understand that like we need to start acquiring talent right now and raising this floor because we don't want to be a lottery team, a bottom dweller. Even in Wemby's sophomore season, even with 21 or even with 20-year-old Wemby, we want to see if we can get into the playoffs. I really like Chris Paul, but imagining either young Chris Paul or a guy like DG with Wemby would be MVP level statistically. Hey man, Colin Sexton, get him there. I think it's Colin Sexton's birthday, isn't it? Happy birthday, Colin Sexton. But I'm joking. I do think Colin Sexton like would be a good fit for that team. He wouldn't be, MVP level, but yeah, get him a point guard. Get Craig Porter Jr. over there. Just don't acquire Jimmy Butler. Yeah. I've seen some people throw that out there for the Spurs. I don't think that makes sense. If you're gonna like the Spurs have enough pieces to make a trade and try to go after a star talent. but you don't need to go after a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler. Me and Jackson mentioned this yesterday, but Jimmy Butler could probably give you one, maybe 2 more years of like seriously contending. But I don't think his game is going to age all that gracefully because he's not a three-point shooter. Um, to a degree, he relies a lot on athleticism. He's become way more crafty. But yeah, I don't think you should bank on 35-year-old Jimmy Butler to open up your championship window. Butler to me is a team that like the Washington Wizards. Yeah, why not? Just get something out there. The Wizards don't have anything going for them, so why not? I think the type of teams that should be looking for Jimmy Butler, it's like the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. The teams that have, with the Warriors and the Lakers, you have an aging Stephen Curry, you have an aging LeBron. You're hoping that you can just get one more crack at the title, maybe two, but like your window's very, very small at this point. You need to just take a home run swing. Those are the teams that I think should be looking at Jimmy Butler, not someone like the San Antonio Spurs, who I know I just said that they don't want to be too patient, but you don't have to go all in and try to get a Jimmy Butler right now. You can hold on to your chips a little longer and try to get a younger star to pair with Wemby. I don't think Jimmy Butler's the guy to anchor yourself to. Something that people deliver for a living, mail? Oh, that's number one. Furniture. Okay, solid. She did a good job. I do like Castle. I think that could be a real piece for them. Sexton would be nice. Yeah. I mean, I bring up Sexton a lot when we talk about these trades, not just because this is a Cavs oriented channel, but also I don't think I could be wrong on this, but I don't think Sexton's trade value is super high. So, in keeping with the theme that I'm talking about here, it's like if you're the Spurs and you're just trying to add some talent without taking any big swings or risks, I feel like Sexton's a nice guy to take a flyer on. I mean, he certainly gives you some offense. Is he the solution long term? Is he the answer? Is he going to move the needle? Probably not. But I would like to see a team that is like in the playoff picture, even if it's the play-in picture, get Colin Sexton, because I do think he's just spent his entire career wasting away on lottery teams. I'd like to see him get an opportunity to play meaningful games because it's crazy. He's what? How he was 2018, so it's been 7 seasons probably. And Colin Sexton hasn't been on a competitive team. That's unfortunate, man. It sucks when you have a player who just hasn't really gotten a chance to play anything meaningful yet. Old kid, if you're talking about Sexton, I have not followed as closely since he's gone to Utah, just because, what? Why am I watching a Utah Jazz game? But from what I've seen on Twitter and other people talking about him, still an efficient scorer. Uh, Seems like they haven't really given him the keys in terms of the volume. Like they've still really kept him in the reserves. I know they were playing a lot of the other guys over him. And so if you look at Haram Boyd or like Keisha or any of the Sexton stands on Twitter, they will say that it's, Will Hardy hates Colin Sexton and, the whole conspiracy. That's probably not the case. I'm going to assume that if he's not being prioritized by that team, there's probably a reason for it. Although, to be fair, Utah is tanking and it doesn't seem like they're very well run at this point. So who knows? Maybe Colin Sexton really is being wrongfully buried in the rotation. Either way, I would like to see him get an opportunity somewhere else. Just, change the scenery, get him into some more meaningful games before we can really fairly judge him, because I think it's hard to judge a guy who's wasting away on these lottery teams the way that he has. To answer your final question, is he still a train wreck on D? Can't confirm that, again, because I haven't watched them very often, but I will say when the Cavs played the Jazz a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Sexton was not very good. He didn't look good. It was a pretty train wreck game for him. So again, does that change in a different context if he's playing with a more competent defense around him? I don't know. The guy plays hard, which I think is a good, that gives you a floor, that gives you a baseline for defense. A lot of defense comes down to effort. So if he's going to play with effort, that's kind of a non-starter. If you're not even giving effort on defense, it's hard to really buy into him. One thing Colin Sexton is going to do is play hard. Does that mean it's going to be good defense? Maybe we won't go that far, but he's going to play hard. He got back cut by George Niang in the clutch. That's, you never want to get back cut by Niang. Definitely not in the clutch. Especially someone like Colin Sexton, who is legitimately one of the fastest players in the NBA. So that goes, it's not an effort issue. It's just focus. He doesn't stay focused on defense. And again, maybe that changes if he's in a winning context, and the stakes are different, and he's being coached. I'm not going to hate on Will Hardy, but like if he's being coached by a different, you know, I don't know. JB was a pretty defensive oriented coach and still didn't work out. So maybe I'm just looking for straws to grasp at here with Sexton, but he's still relatively young. So I think we could see like a second wind in his career if he gets out of Utah, because I just don't think it's happening in Utah. Wemby with a big block right there. Love seeing those pin to the glass. Oh, pinning it to the glass, but then coming down with the rebound too. Very Evan Mobley-esque. I don't know if that was a good block, by the way. I don't think I agree with the announcer here, but I'd like to see another look. Yeah, look at this. Just gobbles that shot up. I guess they're not going to show a replay of the other one. Yeah, this matchup's really fun. I mean, it's kind of like a passing of the torch matchup to a degree, because you have the best player in the world right now going up against someone who, give him 3 years, he could be the best player in the world, right? Like, I mean, Wemby is such an unbelievable talent. I don't know what the roof is for him, what the ceiling is. Raphael on YouTube says, "What about Lonzo Ball to replace CP3?" On paper, if you told me Lonzo Ball like was going to be healthy, then I think that would be pretty cool. He gives you like he's a great defender, great playmaker. Probably doesn't have enough scoring ability to really, move the needle too much for San Antonio, but it would be an interesting pickup. The concern is like how healthy and available is he going to be? I know he returned this year. Go ahead and look up how much. I haven't watched too much Chicago basketball, so I don't know exactly how much Lonzo's been playing. I'll look this up right now just because I'm curious. I know there were rumors last year or during the summer that he might just retire. Those were just rumors, of course, but he's dealt with some serious injuries. So he's played 15 games this year, about 18 minutes per game. So I don't think he would be the answer for San Antonio, but he's an interesting player to take a flyer on, depending on what the price is to get him. You will have to replace CP3 at some point. I think we almost overlook how old Chris Paul is and how much he, the longevity. He deserves a lot of credit for it. Still so good at dissecting the defense. We can check out that Bulls-Knicks game too. We'll switch back to the Warriors at the next dead ball or at the half. Check in on what's going there, and then we'll check out Chicago. I also really like Devin Vassell. I was really high on him when I don't remember what draft he was, but whatever draft he was in, I was really high on him. I wanted him. Was that the Okoro draft? I'd have to double check. Was it the Okoro draft or the Garland draft? Let me look this up. What draft was Devin Vassell in? Speaking of Bulls, what are they doing at the trade deadline? You would hope that they would finally just blow it up. He was 2020? Okay, so that was the Okoro draft. Yeah, he went 11th overall. You know what? You guys know I love Okoro. I'm an ice believer, but I think I stand by they should have taken Devin Vassell. He would have been a really, really good fit with the Cavs team. Definitely, closer to being a 3-and-D guy. Kind of surprised. He's only 6'5". I would have guessed he was like 6'6", 6'7". But Google's saying he's 6'5", so not much. Well, he has a 7-foot wingspan. That's what makes him seem a lot taller. So, yeah, definitely would have been nice, but Okoro's all right. Not hating. But yeah, the Bulls. Here, let me switch over. We'll go Golden State for now. Check in what's going on there. The Bulls really have no reason to try and be competitive with this team, so I don't know why they're holding on to Zach LaVine and Vucevic and and not just going in on a rebuild. I personally, as a fan, I would hate to be in purgatory. As bad as it is to be a lottery team, as hard as it was to root for those Cavs teams and they were, winning like 10 games, I would rather suck to that degree than just be a middle of the road playing team with no real direction and just kind of treading water. And that's what Chicago's been perpetually for like a decade, like even before this iteration of the team. So yeah, at a certain point, you got to cut your losses. And I think it would be good for them just to blow it up. But we'll see. We'll see. Kaminga. I was very high on Kaminga in his draft, too. I was surprised that he slid all the way to seventh in Golden State. I thought he could have gone even higher. I'm not an NBA draft guy, though. So that was my uneducated opinion. But I thought Kaminga had a lot of promise. He's having a nice season in Golden State. So if Golden State trades for Jimmy Butler, I would assume it's centered around Andrew Wiggins, right? But if you're the Miami Heat and you can find a way to get Kaminga in that deal, I think that would be a home run. Like, I think that would be a fantastic move for Miami. I don't know if they have that much leverage anymore just because of how ugly things have gotten with Jimmy Butler and how he's basically like, please trade me. I will never play for Miami again. You kind of lose all your leverage there. But if I'm the Miami Heat, I would love Jonathan Kaminga. I'm also a fan of Moses Moody. I think he's a guy, he's like to me the prototypical role player that you want on a playoff team. Like he's 3-and-D, plays really good defense. He's athletic. He can knock down 3-point shots. It was I think it was his rookie year when they won the title, right? I believe he was a rookie the year they won the title. So we didn't get to play too much of a role. But I think if you put him on if you put him on a legit playoff team, I think he's a guy who would have a lot of not the big statistical games, but those games where you look at it and just say like, wow, Moses Moody really helped change the direction of that game with his defense, with some timely 3-pointers. I got a lot of Moses Moody stock is what I'm trying to say. I think he's a really good role player, not a star, never a 6-man of the year caliber guy, but like the 7th, 8th, maybe even the 9th man in your rotation, probably a little bit better than that, probably 8th man in your rotation. I think he's still got a lot of potential. He's still pretty young. Let me double check this too. I know he's got to be pretty young. He's only 22. He'll be 23 in May. So I'm holding on to my Moses Moody stock. I think he's going to be in the NBA for a long time. And I think he's going to be one of those guys who, like almost like a Contavious Caldwell Pope, where I just feel like throughout this, once he enters his prime, playoff contenders are going to be wanting to add Moses Moody as one of their bench pieces. Bulls are waiting for the next Jordan. They've been waiting a while. It's unfortunate they drafted Derrick Rose. He's the hometown hero, and then of course we all know how that went. But it's very sad. I saw Derrick Rose says that he doesn't want a statue because of how the statues have turned out recently, but he would love to have his jersey retired. And it feels weird to retire a jersey of a guy who ultimately didn't accomplish that much, but the few years that he was on it, and obviously the MVP year, like I almost think you have to retire that number 1. It was just like a flash in the pan, lightning in a bottle, Derrick Rose for those couple years before the ACL injury. And really even his last year, or at least the 2014-15 season and the 2015 playoffs, he was pretty decent against the Cavs. Obviously, he has the game-winning bank shot that we all remember. But I remember Derrick Rose starting to turn it around a little bit that year. And then, I mean, he suffered so many just small injuries throughout the back half of his career. Doesn't help that the Bulls haven't had any luck in the draft lottery. If I'm remembering correctly, when's the last time they even had like a top 3 pick? Yes, that I believe that was under Tibbs. I think he was still the coach back then. Nice move from Kuminga right there. Shook Jaren Jackson Jr. a little bit. Laravia's had a nice bounce back season too. I wasn't too locked into him last year, but whenever I would look at like advanced analytics or just different stats and I would see the bottom of the league, I feel like Jake Laravia was at the bottom of the league every time I would look. uh, and so I he's had a much better season this year, so good for him. Some people blame Tibbs for the injury. He does play players freakishly hard. Nick starters played 40 minutes last night. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember exactly how much time was left in that game when Derrick Rose got injured, but I know the Bulls were up by double digits, maybe like a minute, 2 minutes left. I understand it's a playoff game, but the game was over. I think the other team had already pulled their starters, and Derrick Rose is still out there. And you can't blame the coach for a fluke injury, but at the same time, there's a history of him just running his guys into the dirt all the way up till now, right? Like we have this huge sample size of him just running his star players into the dirt. And so I do think that Derrick Rose, the way that he played, he was such a like aggressively athletic player, like so recklessly athletic with the hop steps, the way he would just fly through the air with no regard, reminiscent of John Morant, who's dealing with a lot of injuries in his career now. Like, I think he was destined for his body to fail him at some point. Unfortunately, it happened way earlier than anyone would have hoped. I don't even remember how old he was when that happened, but it cut his career so short. It was really unfortunate. And so I will say Tibbs runs his guys into the dirt, but I won't fully blame him for the injury because I think Derrick Rose was just the style with how Derrick Rose played. It was only a matter of time before he suffered an injury. But you still wish you could have gotten at least a couple more playoff runs, right? Like they were. I don't remember. I don't think Chicago was the favorite that year because you still had the Miami Heat with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, but they had a real chance of winning that year. They were the one seed. So it's unfortunate they didn't get another shot at it. At least one more shot, if not a couple more, before the injuries finally hit. Edie. Edie's just fun to watch. Just a huge player. You see, the Grizzlies after Golden State started off real strong, Grizzlies fought back into this, dominating in the paint right now. Golden State going to be relying a lot on Jonathan Kuminga to generate some offense in this game. Nice little runner right there. This is a game where Golden State really wishes they had Ty Jerome still. Whoa! What the hell was that shot? That was a double clutch from half court. That was sweet. That was a wild shot. Did he get this off in time? Definitely. Wow. Yeah, double clutch from half court. That was pretty sweet. All right, let's go check in what's going on with let's check on that Bulls game. I haven't looked at the scores for any of these games, so we're gonna find out in real time right now. Oh, I gotta move my camera. All right, 70-61. Oh, it's Derrick Rose night. What do you know? We were just talking about the guy. I didn't know it was Derrick Rose night. I believe the Knicks have won 9. Oh, no. They just lost to OKC. Never mind. I was going to say they won 9 straight, but they just lost. They had won 9 straight, I believe. Yeah, New York they've been creeping up the standings, man. They've really started to put it together after that sluggish start. Mikal Bridges is playing great. OG Anunoby's been real consistent. Karl Anthony Towns obviously having, maybe the best season of his career. Super efficient. The spacing that he's provided, not only the spacing that Karl Anthony Towns has provided, but the spacing that he is now playing with too. If you compare, New York spacing to what he was dealing with in Minnesota with, not that many shooters around him. Sharing the floor with Rudy Gobert the entire time. People talk about the spacing that he's added to New York, but it's also the spacing that he has gotten now that I think has contributed a lot to his success. A D Rose logo is very pretty. I am a big fan of the D Rose logo. All right, well, let's go ahead and go to Denver now. That game might be at halftime too. We got other games we can check on. Let's see what's going on here. Timeout or halftime? Go ahead and pull up the scores. I'm guessing it's halftime. We got the Pistons up by 12 on Minnesota. We can check out that game. We got the Pacers also up by 12 on the Suns. My Phoenix Suns really falling apart. Let's check. There's 3 minutes left in that game. Let's check Phoenix, Indiana. See if Phoenix can get something going or if it's over. They got one last chance to really make a push here. 3 minutes left, down 12. Phoenix is another team that, I mean, I guess they could go for Jimmy Butler, right? Like try to trade Bradley Beal, I guess. I don't know. Phoenix really blew it. They really blew it. JB's cooking. JB really is. I think there's like 8 minutes left in that game. So we have time to flip over there. Just want to see if Phoenix can make one final push. If not, we'll go ahead and switch over to the Pistons. But yeah, man, what happened to Phoenix? Dude, you're telling me, didn't they started off like 4-0, I think, and they might have been I don't remember what their record was through 10 games, but they started off really good. I told Jackson that I think they might be title contenders, and he has held me to that take throughout this entire stretch where Phoenix has sucked. They just turned it over on the inbound right there. It's all bad in Phoenix, man. The vibes are bad. The team doesn't really make sense. They sold the farm for Kevin Durant, and then they sold what they had left for Bradley Beal. And that, to me, was the big mistake. You can go all in and get Kevin Durant. Sweet. Awesome. Do it. Even if you have to pay a hefty price, go get Kevin Durant. Why the hell are you paying a price for Bradley Beal? I don't understand. I don't understand why they went after Bradley Beal. They didn't need him. There was no reason. He's never at any point in his career, at least to me, shown to be the type of guy who you should go all in for. Made zero sense. It was a desperation move that they didn't need to make. They didn't need to be desperate. You have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Just try to build around them. But they sold everything and went after Bradley Beal. And yeah, Big Three has been over for years now. Exactly. They're playing in 2013 still. I don't know what they were thinking. It's a really, really bad move. And unfortunately, it's robbed us of the last few years of Kevin Durant's, not really. I mean, he's out of his prime. Don't get me wrong. He's out of his prime, but he's still been playing great the last few years. And he just hasn't been on a title contender. Same thing with Devin Booker. We're like prime Devin Booker. We're not really getting to see him compete because his team sucks. There's just been some disappointing roster building around some of the best players in the NBA. And I don't want to open up the NBA ratings discourse. We're all tired of it. I'm tired of it. But I do think the fact that like some of the most popular players in the NBA they're on teams that just aren't that good. Like Nikola Jokic, he's on the Nuggets, and they kind of suck. I mean, they have a fighter's chance at the title, but they kind of suck. Phoenix, you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, two of the most popular players. They kind of suck. Stephen Curry's on the Warriors. They kind of suck right now. Giannis is on the Bucks. They kind of suck too. I think that's part of it is the most popular players in the league are on teams that just aren't that fun to watch. Yeah, this game's over. We're gonna go ahead and switch. Let's check on JB Bickerstaff. Yeah, I mean, Dylan, you nailed it. Like you have Devin Booker and KD as your two centerpieces. There's so much to work with there. But you have Bradley Beal, whose contract is like the worst in the NBA. I'll go ahead and pull that up in a second because I remember looking at it, I think last year, and you would just be stunned. Let me go ahead and pull up this contract. Do you think it's bad right now? Pretty sure he's got a couple more years on that deal. Yeah, so Bradley Beal, he's making $50 million this year. Next year, he's going to make $53 million. And in 2027, at 33 years old, he has a player option for $57 million. So, I mean, just a horrendous trade. by every account. Cade Cunningham, 37 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. Get him to the All-Star game, man. Get Cade to the All-Star game. Butler to Detroit. I've heard that thrown out there. You know what? I think it's an interesting move. I don't think I would love it for Detroit, but it is an interesting move. Because basically you get to the playoffs at that point. Can JB handle him? Oh my God. Yeah, that would be a little dicey. I'm not sure if JB and Jimmy Butler would clash heads because Jimmy Butler, I don't know Jimmy Butler personally, but he strikes me as the type of guy where if the coach is saying something that he thinks is ludicrous, he's going to speak his mind. And just judging from JB's tenure in Cleveland and how he lost the locker room, and in that athletic report, we had a lot of the Cavs veterans were questioning, what is JB having us do in practice? What are we even practicing? What are we doing out there? Something tells me Jimmy Butler might not love that, but you never know. JB and Jimmy would strangle each other. That's yeah. I think if I'm Detroit, I'm passing on the Jimmy Butler experience for reasons that I said earlier. You're a young team. Why are you? You don't have to go all in for Jimmy Butler. He's 35 years old. I don't know how many more years he's going to be able to give you. Maybe 1 or 2, right? Like I still think Jimmy Butler's a guy who can and has 50. Jesus, 50 points. Yeah, I was going to say 50 points. You're getting killed by Detroit. That's unfortunate. There's another example. Anthony Edwards, one of the most popular players in the NBA. Minnesota sucks. So I think that's really part of the NBA ratings discourse too. Is just like a lot of the most popular players who are on national TV a lot, their teams just kind of suck. Yeah, Detroit. JB's really doing something special in Detroit. I'm very happy to see the way they're playing. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is great. Speaking of disastrous trades, I mean, why did you trade for Julius Randle? I understand at the time the trade, people felt like it was a lose-lose at the time, and now it looks like New York won pretty easily in that trade. A lot of things could change. We're not even halfway through the year, but just talk about bad roster building. I think, I think Minnesota they probably hoped that they would get more out of Naz Reid when they traded Karl Anthony Towns. Like they thought Naz Reid could give you, 60, 70% of what Towns was giving you. And he's good. Don't get me wrong. Naz Reid is still good, but oh yeah, that's true, Dan. A lot of it was financial reasons, which is unfortunate, but with a team like Minnesota, who they haven't really been relevant in the NBA since Kevin Garnett. It's like you're going to kind of detonate what you have for financial reasons. It's unfortunate. Yeah, I saw Cade Cunningham threw an off the backboard alley-oop to Asar Thompson earlier this game. I saw that on Twitter. So they're having fun in Detroit. This game's not over, though. There's plenty of time left. I'm going to go ahead and look at, I have a few Jimmy Butler hypothetical trades that I pulled up. We can take a look at that at the next dead ball since we've already been talking about it. I think I would like to see him go to Golden State or Los Angeles, probably. But I don't think he's the solution for either team. I don't think either of those teams win the championship because of Jimmy. I will be interested to see what happens with him once he gets traded or if he gets traded because he hasn't been that great this year, but part of it is he clearly doesn't want to be in Miami. So maybe a change of scenery. All of a sudden we get, we see there's a lot more left in the tank. So I would be interested to see what happens there. Yeah, get Cade Cunningham to the All-Star game. It's got to happen. I'll be very disappointed if he doesn't make it. If we're being honest, he should be. If LaMelo Ball is starting in the All-Star game, it really Cade Cunningham deserves to be there over him. But it is what it is. I know we've talked about this before. LaMelo's just so entertaining that you almost can't complain. First bucket of the game for Rudy Gobert. Cade is just like a this is a bad take I'm about to drop, but Cade reminds me of just a watered down version of Luca with how just methodical he is. He plays at his own pace. It's just super smart basketball, super crafty, really physical, keeping his defenders on his hip and just picking apart the help defense. He reminds me of Luca. Is that a wild take? He's not as good as Luca, but just his play style reminds me of it. Especially the way he gets his defenders on his hip and just kind of it's almost like he's not worried about the defender in front of him. He's just trying to occupy his man while he brings in a help defender and picks them apart. It's a lot of fun to watch. And of course, if Cade can develop into a really good defender, like he's got such a high ceiling. Edwards tried to posterize him. All right, under 3 minutes here. Pistons really just need another bucket and a stop, really, to put it away. It's firmly in the driver's seat. Will the Wolves make trades? I'll be interested to see that. Um, they've already made such major moves the last few years that like I don't know if they shake it up even more. And I also don't know what the move would be. Like, can you even trade Randle again? Is anyone buying on Julius Randle right now? Can you trade Rudy Gobert? That would probably be my move, but what is his value now? I don't even know. Hindsight is obviously 2020, but if you were going to trade one of their bigs, it should have been Rudy Gobert in the first place. Obviously, they chose to part ways with Karl Anthony Towns instead, but yeah, I don't know. I feel very similar to how I feel about Phoenix. Their situation is not as bad. Minnesota certainly not as bad, but I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how you save Phoenix, and I don't really know where Minnesota goes from here. At least Minnesota has more options. Randall and Sexton are kind of similar. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying there. I really do. They're fascinating players. Randall is fascinating because he just I think we talked about it in the Celtics Wolves game that we watched earlier, but he can be so helpful, but he can be so damaging all at the same time. It's like for everything he does to help you, he does something that hurts you just as bad. And in those moments where he's having a really good game, you can look at it and you can talk yourself into uh, a little post hook right there, a sky hook from Anthony Edwards. But when he's playing well, you can see, why he's an all-star caliber player at times. But yeah, he's not on the floor right now. Uh, whoa, nice save from Mike Conley. We're gonna go ahead and switch off because it looks like this game's over. But you know, Julius Randle not closing this game. When we watched the Wolves Celtics game, they didn't close with Rudy Gobert. So they clearly Minnesota isn't even sure what's going to work at this point. They're just trying things. I take Dante if he's being traded. Yeah, I mean Dante DiVincenzo had a fantastic year last year. We'll go ahead and see what's going on if Golden State's back on the floor yet. Looks like it. Oh, it's still second quarter. I don't know why I thought this game went to halftime. Spurs Nuggets went to halftime. Sexton to get a birthday dub. Oh, they're playing tonight. Where are they playing? Oh, they're playing Miami right now. They're up by 20. We'll check in on that game in a second. Honestly, it's kind of similar to a Jimmy Butler to a lesser degree, not as hurtful, but it feels like they need a more specific roster construction. Talking about Minnesota still. Trying to see what Colin Sexton's doing. Colin Sexton has 9 points, the birthday boy. Let's go. Third quarter just started. But they're up by 20 on Miami. Randle, Sexton, Butler just can't go to just any team and be successful. Yeah, I think I would give Jimmy I think I would separate Jimmy just a little bit from that group. But I do agree. I think the context around them is very important. They're not guys who can just plug into anywhere. And like Butler, I think the reason why I'd give Butler a little bit of separation is just because I think he's like a full tier better than Randle and obviously much better than Sexton. But yeah, like you need to. He can't fit in anywhere. And we've seen at times throughout his career, Minnesota, even his stint there didn't work out that well. He was pretty decent in Philly. They shouldn't have let him go, but I definitely see what you're saying there. It's unfortunate too because Miami really was built pretty well around Butler. I don't know how they botched that situation so badly. I mean, they've been to 2 finals the last 5 years. They still have a pretty strong core. Bam Adebayo's having a bit of a rough season, but Tyler Hero's broken out. I think you trust Pat Riley and that Miami Heat team to figure out a way to add more talent around this current team. Like if you're still going for a title, I don't know. I feel like they really blew that situation. And I'm sure it's, as far as I'm aware, it seems like it's because they didn't want to give him a max extension. And I understand why you wouldn't want to extend Butler to the max. But yeah, you basically, the championship window has just been slammed shut. If it was even open still at this point, I think you could argue that it's not, and that's why they didn't want to give him the max to begin with. But it is unfortunate. This thing is more play style than talent. Not a great 3-point shooter, can be passive as a scorer. Yeah. He's never developed into a 3-point shooter. Even during those playoff runs when they made it to the finals, it's like he'll only take 1 or 2 threes, but for whatever reason, he just shoots 100% in the playoffs. But yeah, you need spacing around him. You need you just need spacing around him. And it's hard to play like heliocentric through him unless he's having one of those super hot playoff series like we saw against Milwaukee. But it's tough. I don't know what team's going to trade for him that can actually win a title. Because if he goes to Golden State, him and Steph are pretty good together. So like I think that would probably be, if I was just thinking like what's the best fit for Jimmy Butler, it'd probably be Golden State. But again, it comes down to how much gas is left in the tank for him. Like how much can he give you defensively? How much of that playoff magic does he still have? So because Pat Riley said to the media Butler should shut up. Yeah, I mean that's basically where it started. Pat Riley, both of them being stubborn, not wanting to concede ground to the other person. Butler basically feeling like he was owed a max contract extension. Pat Riley feeling like he doesn't owe anybody anything, and you get the two guys butting heads there. If Draymond wants to keep shooting 40% from 3, yeah, I mean that's one thing you could try to bank on, but I don't know how reliable it will be. If I'm Golden State, I don't know, man. I don't know. They have to do something. If you want to take advantage of like the last few years of Stephen Curry, you have to do something. I don't know if Jimmy Butler's the move, but I'm trying to think of who else would even be available. I'd probably trade for Jimmy Butler before I traded for Zach LaVine. Maybe I'm giving Jimmy Butler too much credit for, the previous runs to the finals, but I know that Jimmy Butler's a guy who can raise his ceiling in the playoffs and just play like a brand new player. And we haven't quite seen that from Zach LaVine. Yeah, I wouldn't. If I'm the Warriors, I would not want to give up Kuminga. If I'm the Heat, I would only want to make this trade if you can give me Kuminga. So no idea what Jimmy Butler's value is going to be on the trade market. Because if you can swap Wiggins for Butler, that's probably a move that you make if you're Golden State. But does Miami have interest in that? I don't know. I don't know how many picks Golden State can give up either. Dennis Schroeder and Jimmy are kind of similar. In terms of their limitations, a bit, Dennis Schroeder's having a pretty good year shooting the 3 ball, but I do think Jimmy Butler, when he's playing in a playoff series and he's going against the same team over and over again, we do see that craftiness, that IQ of just like, all right, we're playing the same team over and over again. I know what the defense is showing me, and I'm going to make the right play out of it and create an advantage. I think that would be a really good fit next to Stephen Curry. And, obviously Draymond Green's one of the best playmakers ever too. So you just add some playmaking, another ball handler, another guy who can get to the rim and find his own shot. Tough shot maker in the mid range too. A guy who raises his game in the playoffs. So I see the reasoning to go after Jimmy, but again, does it actually move the needle? I really don't know. And if you're Golden State, you really only have one more shot at it. You could really, I think you can only build one more version of this team before it's over with Steph. We're already seeing the decline quite a bit with Steph. Still having a good year, but we're seeing like the age is catching up to him. So if you're making one last swing, is it gonna be Jimmy Butler? We'll have to see. I hope they do something though. I think it'd be unfortunate for them to just for this for this core to go out with a whimper. Although as a Cavs fan, I wouldn't exactly be complaining. 74-47 Utah over Miami. Yeah, Miami's listen, for the Heat, you got to just trade Butler as soon as you can because this is horrible. I mean, this is so toxic for this team. If you want to get back in business and have any relevancy, you got to get over it and just trade him. Yeah, and of course the Cavs, Miami nightlife undefeated against Cleveland. I don't know what else to say. I guess that was before things reached this boiling point, but yeah, the Cavs historically can't win in Miami. I don't know why, but they just can't do it. So at least Miami still has that going for them. K-Love trolling on IG. We got to free K-Love, man. Free him. Buy him out. Come back to Cleveland on a minimum. Solve our backup big. Need for a backup big. We need to beat the Hawks. When is the next time we play Atlanta? Pull that up right now. January 30th. So not too long till we play Atlanta again. I think it's the last time we play them this year. Maybe only play them one more time. In Cleveland, let's hope we can blow them out. Get some revenge. First lead of the game for Memphis, staying in it. I mean, listen, dude, they're decimated by injuries, and they're still staying in it. Golden State has been reeling the last few weeks. Jay Huff, the reverse dunk king. Let me pull this up real quick because Golden State started the year 10-2, I think. Let me pull it up to double check. Because they've fallen off significantly. I wrote it in the preview for Fear of the Sword. So I'm pulling it up now. Also, for anyone who was in the stream yesterday, I can inform you that Apollo did destroy the toy that he was violently squeaking all throughout the stream. But if you can hear him right now, he is scratching the blankets. So he's trying to get a comfy spot to sleep. So if you hear that noise, he is going crazy on the blankets. Yeah, the Warriors began the season 12-3. They've gone 5-13 since. It's pretty rough for them. A Jay Huff type as a third big. I don't know if there's another Jay Huff on planet Earth right now. he's such a strange player. His commitment to the reverse dunk is brilliant. Has there ever been a player who is committed to the reverse dunk like this before? It's unbelievable. I don't know most of these players on this Memphis team. You know what? I'm right there with you for a decent amount of them because if you saw their injury report at the beginning of this game, there's like 8 players on the injury report. But they just plug and play. They just bring in new guys and they find a way to make it work. You got to get familiar with Jay Huff, man. I'm only familiar with him because he's had this weird breakout year where he throws down these dunks. Here we go. Oh, I thought we were going to see one right there. Anytime he gets an opportunity to dunk, he goes reverse. The reverse jam is great. Yeah, Bane's still out there. It looked like Brandon Clark was out there. Kuminga, did he twist something? I missed exactly how he fell. I saw him rolling around, but I didn't see what injury it was. Oh, doesn't look good. Yeah, I mean, you go straight to the locker room, looked frustrated, hitting the top of whatever that thing was. Looks like he knows he's hurt. So that is unfortunate. Already without Stephen Curry in this game. Let's see. Couldn't quite see what happened there, but an awkward landing. Couldn't see if it was like his knee or his ankle or what happened. Left knee. Yeah, either way, it didn't look good. And it didn't really look like um it just looked like an awkward landing. It didn't look like there was contact or anything. So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he'll be able to walk it off. He did walk all the way to the locker room on his own there. So, and it wasn't even like a very ginger walk. So hopefully he's okay. I mean, the Grizzlies just move the ball so well. Good team chemistry. Wells has been playing really well when I was looking at their recent games. Jokic up to 26, no one else in double figures. Yeah, I just feel bad when I watch him. We'll go ahead and switch over there in about a minute. Once this game goes to halftime. Feel bad for Jokic, man, because he's still he's putting up 2K numbers every night. He had the 40 points, 18 rebounds last game. They still lost. Ooh, nice finish right there from Jackson Davis. You know, the Warriors still have some pieces. They do have a competitive team. I don't really know why they've fallen off so significantly since that hot start. I haven't done like a deep dive into them. I know they were playing great defense to start. I wonder if that slipped or not. I'm not sure what's led to this. Is it Buddy? It could be because they were really riding that Buddy Hield wave to start. And as we see basically every year with Buddy Hield, there's like a couple weeks out of the season where you're like, oh my God, Buddy Hield is amazing. How come no one else wants him? Like, how did we get Buddy Hield? No one really wanted to play this guy. And then the rest of the season, you find out why Buddy Hield is always available and nobody ever wants to keep him. Twitter thread about how Memphis runs an offense with crazy few amount of pick and rolls. Yes, I think was it Thinking Basketball did a video on it, I think. They almost never run pick and rolls. It's all just like pass and cut. It's a very interesting video. I think it was Thinking Basketball. Did a really good video on that. They're like, I don't know where they ranked in terms of pick and roll frequency, but they were like way near the bottom of the league. Interesting style of basketball. And again, they're second in the Western Conference. So for all the people who say, oh, every NBA team just plays the same, you got to check out other teams, man. Memphis playing a really unique brand of ball. I'll check right now on YouTube. I think it's Thinking Basketball. I'll pull it up. I know that I watched it recently, so I'll try to link it real quick for you guys. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, I got it right here. Oh, you got it. Thank you, Senior Rojo. He got it. He's on his game. Watched this 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's very crazy development. Because basically every NBA team is just spamming pick and rolls. And like, don't get me wrong, the Grizzlies still run a decent amount of it, but it's a lot of pass and cut. And just, 5 out basic basketball principles. Yeah, everyone's cutting, everyone's, cut and replace. We'll try and keep an eye on it as we watch the rest of this game and try to point out some of it. Obviously, things change when you don't have Ja Morant out there. He's the one guy who accepts the most picks because obviously he's Ja Morant, so you want to get him downhill with an advantage. Yeah, Bane is built like a semi truck, man. Yeah, something interesting that I was looking at recently for a story that I did with Fear the Sword. the Cavs this year, they are second in pick and roll frequency and second in points per possession in pick and roll. Off the top of my head, I think they were 18th last year, maybe better than that. Let me double check. My memory sucks. I'm pretty sure they were 18th last year. Um, Definitely not top 10. They may have been 10th at best, but not within the top 10. I mean, I'll pull it up. But that's one of the big differences. I think one of the major things that Kenny Atkinson has managed to accomplish is you have the two guards and the two bigs. You should be one of the best pick and roll teams, but they really just weren't last year. Like they kind of stunk in the pick and roll for how they were still really high in terms of frequency. Here, I can pull it up right now. I think I included it in the article. I hope I did. Yeah, they ranked 20th last season in points per possession in pick and roll. The Cavaliers ranked 20th, and they were still, I believe, top 5 in frequency. So not great. Like they were running a lot of pick and rolls and they were not generating a lot of points out of it. This year, they're second in frequency and second in points per possession. So they've unlocked what should be their bread and butter. Almost got a second half court buzzer beater. We'll go ahead and switch over. Let's check out the Nuggets game. Yeah, old kid. I'll talk about that in a second too, because that surprised me as well. I mean, basically any stat you look at, the Cavs are playing great. They're just they're legitimately an all-time great team through the first 34 games of the season. Very few teams have played basketball as well as the Cavs are currently playing basketball. But as old kid mentions, the Cavs, the perception of their ball movement, they're not very high in terms of passes per game. They're actually, I think they're averaging fewer assists per game than last year, just basically the same amount. It's the same amount. I think it's like 25 per game. Um, but it feels like that ball is moving way more often. And I think it's for a couple different reasons. One, they're just scoring every possession down. So, the offense just looks more fluid. Last year was so rigid. It was, we mentioned this yesterday. There would be like every game you'd see on the bottom of the screen, it would pop up. It's been 4 minutes, 15 seconds since the Cavs scored a field goal. It was just like they would constantly go on these droughts. Now guys are scoring every possession down. So it feels just more fluid. The offense doesn't look as painful. So I think that's part of it as far as the perception goes. But it's also, they're not, Donovan Mitchell isn't dominating the ball, and neither is Darius Garland. Last year, the two of them averaged I think Donovan Mitchell was at 80 touches per game and Darius Garland was at like 72. This year, they're both, I think, just below 60 or right around 60. So that's almost 20 fewer touches per game. So more guys are touching the ball. More guys are able to do things, right? Like Okoro's dribbling the ball, bringing it up. Niang's bringing the ball up. Evan Mobley's bringing the ball up. And so it makes it feel like the ball is moving more than it is. And it's such efficient ball movement, too, is the last thing. Everything is being moved with a purpose. They're hitting their actions very quick. I know in that recent story that I'm forgetting his name. I'll go ahead and link it here in a second because I know I can find it. I bookmarked it, but they're taking shots way earlier in the shot clock. So I think that also contributes to the ball movement seeming better because it's basically 1-2 passes and the shots going up instead of I'm going to dribble at the top of the key until there's 12 seconds on the shot clock. And then we're going to run a pick and roll and I'm going to pass it and either a shot's going up or we're going to reset and try to run another pick and roll, or it's going to be an ISO step back three from Donovan Mitchell. I'll go ahead and find this story real quick because I want to give proper credit. It's a very good story. But yeah, Spurs up by 9 right now. They just beat Denver last night, right? Wasn't it just last night these two teams played? Dan Devine wrote the story. I'll go ahead and link it right now. I don't know if it's paywalled. How could I forget his name was Dan? Oh, Chicago came back to tie it. We'll switch over to that right now. Here's that story if you want to look at it. Let's go check out the Chicago game. There's Lonzo Ball. Good to see him on the court. And we got Derrick Rose in the broadcast booth. I'm going to have to pick the dashing donut for this one. Or you know what? I'll go with the iced cuppy thing. Wait, okay, those are the odds. I thought that was the record for a second. I was about to say. Ice Cuppy's already got 6 wins though. I'm gonna go dashing donut. I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with my pick. Cuppy coffee. Dan's rocking with Cuppy coffee. I used to be a big Dunkin' guy. I have an insane amount of Dunkin' rewards points because I never used them for whatever reason. I was going to Dunkin' a lot back in the day. It's been a while. I've been going to Bigby a lot more recently, or Starbucks. But Dunkin' iced coffee, man, it's very hit or miss. But when it hits, it hits. It's all about which store you go to. Certain Dunkin' Donuts stores you avoid like the plague. Other ones are pretty consistent. But all it takes is one bad Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee to turn you off. And all right, we got the bagel in a big lead here. Doesn't seem like they're staying in their lanes. The coffee's running away with this. See, I thought it was going to be mascots racing when they were first showing us the odds, not whatever this is. So, my donut. All right. This is going to be a close one, Dan. It's ridiculous. I like how they have the bean in the middle. I should have stuck with Ice Cuppy, man. I blew it. They're the reigning champs. They got 6 wins already and add number 7 of the season. Should have stuck with my guns. Coffee came in last. It's crazy. Although iced coffee is superior, I will say. I am an iced coffee. I'm an iced coffee guy. I'll take iced coffee or the cold brew over the hot coffee almost every time. Not every time, but almost every time. Even in the winter, I'm an iced coffee guy. Banner for the iced coffee. Yeah. It's surprising that D Rose managed to get 15 seasons under his belt. A lot of those were kind of, riding the bench a little bit, but still pretty crazy to see that type of longevity considering how early he got hurt. Also, how many of those seasons was he just on, like, not even available to play? I don't know. So maybe that's a little bit of a fluke stat, misleading stat. Trailblazers are up by 2 on Milwaukee right now, too. We could get a lot of good results for the Cavs standings right now if New York loses and Milwaukee. 76ers did win, so they continue rolling, trying to climb out of the depths of the Eastern Conference. Man, I'd be real happy if New York lost. Whoa! Lonzo Ball catching a lob. When's the last time Lonzo Ball caught an alley-oop dunk? Oh, Milwaukee's up now. So yeah, we'll probably check on that game too because there's 5 minutes left there. So we'll go check out what's going on in Milwaukee in a second. It's great to see Lonzo Ball running the floor like that. I really like Lonzo. There's a fun player. Bad turnover right there. He's gonna, yeah. You got to be careful throwing a lob to Lonzo. Don't want to make him do too much. But that was sweet to see him turn the clock back a little bit. How old is Lonzo Ball? Feels like he's 35, but I know he's probably only like 27. He's 27. Oh, he's an October baby. Shout out Lonzo Ball. October babies are the best babies. I'm an October baby. Actually, me and LeBron James Jr. have the same birthday. So not same year, but same day. Ooh, blew the layup. New York with the offensive rebounds, getting PTSD. Next, that ball will go over to the Milwaukee game. Yeah, Bridges has turned up. That move was looking kind of like a disaster. Air balls a shot by 6 feet as I'm hyping him up. But yeah, I mean that trade was looking rough at first, but he really has turned it around. He's been playing great. New York worries me, man. They really do. They've been trending upwards for a solid month and a half now. The main thing is their defense has really come around too. Like we knew that they'd be able to score. Oh, here we go. Showtime. Yeah, that was big. Momentum shifter. Chicago goes up by 6. All right, we're gonna switch over to Milwaukee. New York worries me though, because like I said, they've been trending upwards. We knew that when they made that trade, they'd be able to score a lot of points, but the defense has been really good. I think they're, I think they're the second best defense in the NBA over their last 10 games. Um, so I don't think they're quite that good. This game's on ABC. Is that just the name of? That just has to be the name of ABC Oregon. Okay, I was gonna say they're not on ABC, are they? That's strange. I was gonna say, why did the NBA put this on national TV? But it looks like a good game. I'm not hating. But yeah, New York has really been turning it around. I think it's yeah, the NFL is on ABC right now. I was gonna say I don't think ABC is broadcasting Portland, Milwaukee, but they might be. But no, this is ABC Oregon. uh, I think the Eastern Conference right now it's a 3-team conference. It's Boston, Cleveland, New York. Milwaukee has that fighter's chance because of Giannis, because of Dame. I'm not worried about Philadelphia at all. Orlando would have worried me if they had, not just been dealt the worst injury luck of all time. I think Paolo's potentially on his way back soon. Don't know when what the update is with Franz. I don't know how long is Mo out too. Like they got injuries all across the board. Even if they get Paolo back, they're still down a lot of guys. I know Suggs just got injured too. So Orlando probably doesn't worry me. We'll see if they manage to get their guys back by the time the playoffs start. The issue there is that you might get them back, but like how much of a runway do they get? Do they come back a week before the playoffs? That's not really enough of a runway. So um Atlanta, yeah, Atlanta could be interesting. That's a team that like I'd feel the Cavs for whatever reason can't beat the Hawks, but I would feel comfortable heading into that series, but I would know in the back of my mind that there's a way that Trae Young and all those lanky wings could just make it a nightmare for us. I would love, absolutely love, like I'm praying that the first round is New York versus Atlanta because I think a miracle could happen. Put me on the same side as Brad Nostradority, all right, because I think Atlanta could pull off the upset. And wouldn't that just be an amazing result for the Cavs? Trey in New York is cinema. If he stunned them, that would be such a great result for the Cavs. The only thing is, I would love for Boston to have to play New York in the second round if the bracket works out that way. And so I would prefer Boston has to play New York rather than Boston versus Atlanta. Because again, if the bracket turns out just right, like let's say Philadelphia manages to get up into the play-in tournament and they get the 7 seed, and so Boston has to play a healthy Philly in the first round, and then they have to play New York in the second round, and then they get to Cleveland in the conference finals, and they're already banged up. I'm not wishing for any injuries, but they're just banged up. They're tired. They're exhausted. They've been through 2 gauntlet series. Now they have to play the Cavs, and let's hope that the Cavs are healthy and rolling. That would be perfect. That would be a dream sequence to play out that way. Yeah. Old kid, I'm right with you. It would suck if I think we could beat Philly pretty comfortably. I'm honestly much more worried about a healthy Orlando than a healthy Philly, which I know sounds maybe crazy, but I don't know. I don't trust Philly at all. I just don't trust them. But I still wouldn't feel great. I really wouldn't feel great if the first round matchup was a healthy Philly versus the Cavs and or a healthy Orlando. Um, I'm surprised Orlando has managed to hold on so firmly to where they are in the East right now, despite all the injuries. I wonder if the floor is going to if the rug's going to get pulled out on them sometime soon, and we'll see them start to just plummet down the standings. Yeah, I agree. I think we win both, and I would like to. I dropped this take earlier in the year, old kid, and Jackson called me crazy, but I said I would rather play Orlando in the second round than have to face Boston because, or no, sorry, other way around. I would rather play Boston. Let me put it this way. This will be a much easier way to say it. I would rather avoid Orlando than avoid Boston because I know we're probably gonna have to play Boston at some point, and that'll be like the challenge you have to overcome to get to the finals. But I would rather avoid Orlando at all costs because even though I think we beat Orlando, I don't think we get out of that series unscathed. I think we lose at least one member of the core forward to some fluke injury or a core member of the team, whether it's Dean Wade. Someone's going to get injured in that series. I don't think anyone will get injured in the Boston series, knock on wood, but I don't think we get out of the Orlando series fully healthy. So I would rather have to play Boston and avoid Orlando altogether than the opposite, which I know sounds crazy because Boston obviously poses a way better chance of knocking us out. They're probably, they're the biggest threat in the Eastern Conference, so you would want to avoid them. But if I had to pick, I would rather avoid Orlando. I know it sounds crazy, but Orlando's just tough. They're just a tough ass team, and they're super physical. And we already saw the Wagner brothers pierce Jared Allen's ribs last year. I just want to avoid them. Keep Jared Allen safe. Keep Darius Garland safe. Keep all of them safe. All right. I want to avoid those physical series if we can. On the flip side, like I said, if Boston has to play Philadelphia, if Boston has to play New York or Orlando, that's a win for us. Wear them out. Cosimo Wagner pulling an Olenek. Yeah, Darius Garland has not been hit in the face very often through the regular season so far. So again, knock on wood. I'm hoping there's not a regression to the mean in the playoffs. Yeah, Suggs is injured as well. Orlando's really, I'm kind of hyping them up right now. There's a good chance that Orlando is just they're not going to be the team that we think they are when the playoffs roll around. They could get healthy by then. There's plenty of time. But I also think it's important that, yeah, I was wondering I was wondering the same thing. Okay, what the timetable is for Suggs, because they might all be back for the playoffs. But again, what does it look like? Are they coming back in April, or are they going to be able to come back like early March and have plenty of time to put things together? I have no idea. I haven't seen any of the updates. But there is a scenario where this playoff bracket breaks just right for the Cavs. You look at it last year, Boston basically had a dream scenario all throughout the entire playoffs. I mean, did they play Atlanta in the first round? I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but they played an injured Cavs team in the second round, played an injured Pacers teams in the conference finals, which even if Indiana wasn't injured, they would have taken that matchup all day, every day when the playoffs started. And then they played Dallas in the finals, a team who really just kind of punched way above their weight class to get to the finals and probably didn't really belong out there. So if Boston can get a dream scenario like that, I hope the Cavs can luck out too, because it doesn't happen very often. I'm going to look up if any Jalen Suggs news came out. I'm sure something probably came out. Milwaukee down 2 minutes left. Let's see if Dame time. So first thing I'm seeing is that CBS Sports says Jalen Suggs leaves court in wheelchair, but the injury may not be as bad as it seems, which is pretty good news. I'm never rooting for anyone to be injured. Trying to see if there's any more information here. Good news is it appears it was just back spasms. Okay, so if it's just back spasms, that actually doesn't sound. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not fun. But I don't know how long that would keep him out. So he might be back sooner than I would have thought. That was a tough shot by Dame. Any combo of Indy, Chicago, Detroit, Miami feels awesome for round one. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. The last thing that I ever want to do is jinx it. But if you play any of those teams that you just mentioned right there in the first round, feels like you're coasting, right? Feels pretty easy. Not to say that those teams can't give you problems because they certainly can. But if you just compare it to the first rounds they had to take the last few years, New York and Orlando, they'd be sleeping easy against any of those teams, I think. Indiana, Chicago, Detroit, or Miami. And then in the second round, I'd love to play Milwaukee instead of Boston. Yeah, I'd like to see Cavs Pacers. I think we match up pretty well against them. I think we do a good job. Last year was weird, so I want to discard a lot of last season, honestly. But I think we can do a really good job of slowing Indiana down. And I'm not sure they have the tools. I'm not sure they have the defensive tools to defend Cleveland. Few teams do right now, but I definitely don't think Indiana has it. Austin Carr. I was thinking that Austin Carr is going to have to bring out that broom a couple times this year. I'm thinking, ooh, didn't even realize we were under a minute to play right there. Nice play from Milwaukee to attack quickly right there. Giannis basically just locked into the rim, running rim to rim right there. All right, we got a challenge. I guess why not use it, but I don't think it's going to be overturned. But yeah, if you have a challenge at this point, you might as well use it. Blazers have been playing hard. Bill Simmons mentioned this on his podcast, but really, there's not a team in the NBA right now. There's plenty of teams in the NBA that suck, but basically every single team is watchable. You know, the Wizards are, I would say, by far the worst team in the NBA, and they're still entertaining enough. We got a special guest in the chat, Samra. Everybody say happy belated birthday to my girlfriend Samra. It's been about a week, but everyone can say happy belated birthday. We just saw the Bob Dylan movie today, A Complete Unknown. Shout out to Timothy Chalamet. Shout out to Paul Atreides. I think he's going to be nominated for an Academy Award. And if you had asked me, just a few days ago, I would have said it would be for his role as Paul Atreides, but he did fantastic in this Bob Dylan movie. I wish Jackson was here because he loves Timothy Chalamet. Watch him get nominated for Willy Wonka just to spite you. Hey, he could be nominated for multiple roles, right? You can win an Oscar. You can be nominated for multiple roles in the same year, right? I actually don't think you're allowed to do that. I looked it up. But between Paul Atreides and Willy Wonka and Bob Dylan, he should win something, at least get nominated. But if you haven't seen Dune Part 2, go watch it. If you haven't seen A Complete Unknown, I would say go up to your local cinema and go watch it. I just saw it today. It was great. It's about 2.5 hours long, so it is a little bit of a commitment, but the time flew by. It's a very entertaining movie. Really good biopic. I didn't know much about Bob Dylan heading into this. As a Zoomer, wasn't too familiar with this game, but Timothy Chalamet does a great job. It's truly a great performance. Completely disappears into Bob Dylan, and very interesting. I thought the story was really interesting. Doesn't focus too much on the anti-war stuff, but Bob Dylan was an interesting guy. He's kind of an asshole, and so seeing his behavior and everything was very. It was interesting to see unfold because again, I didn't know much about him. But Giannis with some big free throws here. That challenge was unsuccessful. Cleveland Cavaliers, you might be ahead of us, so you may have just spoiled this for us, but it's okay. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Giannis 31 and 11. I have a feeling Simons. I was gonna say I have a feeling Simons finishes that shot. Looks like they might take the lead unless he misses the free throw. So that's tough for Milwaukee. I mean, no resistance at the point of attack. Don't really love that foul call, but I guess Portis definitely wasn't straight up. Yeah, bad defense there. No resistance at the point of attack, and then no one anywhere in position to help. That's tough. So now Portland up by 1, 23 seconds left. I would love a Milwaukee loss. Oh, are the Knicks still losing? I would switch over, but I don't want to miss this last possession. Yeah, this would be a great. Wow. 112 to 95. Let's go. Start of the fourth quarter over there, though, so we can switch over and check that out as we get down to crunch time. As we all know, New York could put up a 40-point fourth quarter for all we know. So right now, down by double digits. It's looking good for the agenda, but not quite over yet. The spirit of D Rose, true. They had to show out for D Rose. Hold on, I'm gonna sort my VIPs real quick here. I'm gonna give one out, but I don't want to miss this last play at the same time. Okay, let's see what Milwaukee draws up. We got Damian Lillard, pick and roll Giannis. Like going to the rim there. Good defense, collapsed on him. Okay, 16 seconds left. I'm going to assume that the ball's going back to Damian Lillard. You're going to let him decide the game. And really, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't let Giannis set him a screen unless he's just going ISO here. Yep. That was they didn't know what they were doing right there. I mean, you can't have a miscommunication that bad with the game on the line. That's bad all around. I also don't know why Bobby Portis is cutting right there. I don't know why he's cutting right there, honestly. It didn't look like if they show a replay, I'd love to see it because it looked like he was just cutting into the paint with Giannis standing right there. Maybe he's crashing because he thinks Damian Lillard's about to shoot a step back right there. I guess maybe that's what's happening. But if you're Bobby Portis, you got to stay in the corner right there. Let's see. I don't think we're going to be able to see what's going on the baseline here. Yeah, where is he going right there? There's Chris Middleton and Giannis right where he's cutting. If anything, Bobby, you have to shake upward so you can give Damian Lillard somewhere to throw the ball. But it's also just a bad play in general. I know, listen, Doc Rivers, you trust Damian Lillard in the fourth quarter, but no action whatsoever, not even off the ball. It's just everyone standing around, 4 guys standing around watching Dame. Great defense by Portland. Makes him pick up his dribble. Nowhere to go with it. So just bad possession for Milwaukee. So you're hoping to get a steal here on the inbounds because honestly, I'm going to be sick if they foul them and they go up by 3 and then we have to watch Portland foul up by 3. It would be sick. It's a disgrace to basketball. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I guess we're going to find out. Hopefully they just miss a free throw or Milwaukee gets a steal because I really don't want to see a team foul up by 3. Anthony Simmons, 26 points. I saw Sam Vecini, or I think it wasn't Sam, but it was the Game Theory podcast threw out Denny Avdija as a, a potential trade target for the Cavs. I'm good. Just going to throw that out there. I'm good. I don't think we need Denny. I don't think that makes any sense. I get that he's a wing, but just because a guy's a wing doesn't mean he needs to be in Cleveland. All right, guys. Yeah, it looked close to a jump ball there, but foul came before. Yeah, what about Scoot? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Scoot. I don't watch enough Portland basketball to tell you, but I know that it's been rough for him. Scoot doesn't even know what's going on. Yeah, there was so much hype for him coming into the draft or coming into his rookie season, and he just hasn't been great. But I will say, I'm going to look up his age right now because I know he's also very young. You have to be patient with these young guards in the NBA because sometimes it really just does. It takes a couple years. It takes, yeah, he's 20 years old. He's about to be 21 in February. I'm not saying that he's going to turn it around, but you do have to be patient with these young guards because it takes a while sometimes for them to mature. And especially Scoot, a guy who I'm pretty sure struggles heavily with turning the ball over, scoring efficiently. By the time he gets to 22, 24 years old, maybe the game slows down and he becomes some semblance of the player we thought he could become. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't have any Scoot Henderson stock, so I won't advise you what to do with your Scoot Henderson stock. But if you're on Henderson Island, Scoot Island, you might as well hang out for a little bit longer. Don't blame me if all the safety boats are gone by the time you're ready to get off. Because again, I'm not on Scoot Island, but if you are, you might as well stay around a little longer. But yeah, so 3-point game now. There's only 5 seconds left, so it's possible Portland doesn't try to foul because at that point you're risking giving up a 3-point shot. So we'll see what happens here. Again, I'm assuming you're trying to get the ball to Damian Lillard and you're getting a shot up immediately. And he's already hit one earlier in this game. Chauncey will be honorable. I hope so. There's only 5 seconds. So the thing is, if there's plenty of time for Milwaukee to take a couple dribbles, 2 dribbles before they get a shot off. If the foul is going to come, it's going to happen while Dame or whoever catches the ball is taking a dribble while the ball is moving downwards. Let's see what happens. You got a clean look for Dame. Here we go. You know what? I'm going to say it kind of lost that game because he was grifting a little bit at the end. If he goes straight up, he maybe hits that shot, but he was kind of grifting for a foul call. And you can see it looks like he's arguing with the ref right there. Just play ethical basketball. The basketball gods just saw Portland. Portland chose not to foul up by 3, and Damian Lillard got greedy and tried to commit a basketball sin, and we see the results here. Yeah, see, they don't foul. Dame kind of does the double clutch, hoping for a call. If he just goes up with his regular shot, he probably hits it. But you know what? I'm not complaining because I will take a Milwaukee loss. The basketball gods do not reward cowardice, and I'm glad to see it. We'll switch over to Chicago, I guess. Let's see what's going on with that game. We can get a Knicks loss and a Bucks loss back to back. Bulls lock in and give them an L. Hope so. 14-point game, 8 minutes left. Certainly not over. But if I'm Chicago, I'd be feeling good. Campaign's out there. It's not what you want to see if you're a Knicks fan, but they get the bucket anyway. Ooh. Zach LaVine trying to get his trade value up to get himself out of Chicago. That's a tough shot. Again, campaign on the floor. I'm not really sure where the foul was, but okay. Bulls jerseys, yes or no? I don't hate them. The Motorola logo is pretty ugly. The thing is, I don't necessarily think they're bad, but I like the white and red for the Chicago Bulls, so I don't know why you would take the red out. I think you're doing too much at that point. If you just had those same jerseys but red, yeah, not a huge fan of them. They almost look like Pelicans jerseys. Yeah, I feel you on that, old kid. Tough shot right there. All right, 13-point game. That was Landry Shamet. What the hell? I'll be honest with you. I forgot he was on the Knicks. Bean jersey. That's the real thing we need. Put the bean on there. Okay, let's check out what's going on in Denver, San Antonio. I don't know. I feel like Shamet's just been passed around a few times, but I think he has been in New York for a little while. I just completely forgot. Tibbs never plays the bench guys, so it's like you see him once a month. All right, whoa. All right, Nuggets came back, take the lead right when we tune in here. Minute left. This will be good. They played a very close game last night, too. Wemby blocking Jokic on the potential game winner. Jazz still blowing out Miami. Happy birthday, Colin Sexton. The cell. In and out. All right. Nuggets back in the driver's seat here. Is this Westbrook versus Chris Paul? What year is it? Yeah, Jokic 36 and 10. I was going to say, I hope they show the stats here because I'm sure Jokic has an insane stat line. I wonder what Wemby has. And we're getting the full Westbrook versus Chris Paul right here. Jokic gets him on a pump fake. Are they counting that as a shooting motion? They're not. Or are they in the bonus? No, side out. Okay, I was going to say. Because that was not a. Oh, no, they're in the bonus. Okay. I thought the announcer said on the floor, but they're in the bonus, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying, Dan. Yeah. Man, it's unbelievable. Jokic putting up these numbers. What is he doing? Jokic putting up these numbers just to squeak by the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, that was getting a little dicey right there, Dan. I've seen guys readjust their shorts, but he was getting bold right there. Oh, Jokic misses a free throw. Don't want to pull LeBron. How could anyone forget? The Nuggets would trade Allen for Jokic. According to Brad, yes. Jared Allen is the best center he's ever seen. So, can Nikola Jokic block a dunk and then on the other end catch an alley oop? I don't think so. I've never seen him do it. I've seen Jared Allen do it. Can Jokic grow an afro? Probably not. Jared Allen can do it. Does it every year. Shaves it in the summer and then grows it back out. So, just things that I've noticed. We've never we've never seen a team built around Jared Allen. If Jared Allen had the same usage as Jokic, according to Brad, they'd probably put up similar numbers. If we have the best point guard, shooting guard, center, power forward, Brad might be right. I feel like he's been vindicated a lot. See, right there on that Wemby play, he's catching it with his back to the basket, but he got pushed all the way up to almost the 3-point line right there, and he's just crowded. That's where, we were talking earlier about Wemby needing to put on some weight, getting pushed around a little bit, versus look at where Jokic is catching the ball. He's already pretty deep, and he's got Chris Paul on him. That's going to be something for Wemby. You can't let yourself get pushed out to the 3-point line on a post-up. But they managed to get a stop, and I don't know if they're in the bonus, but that was a bad foul right there. Okay, not in the bonus. So it's all good. It actually ended up being a good foul. Did you stop that potential transition opportunity? 24 seconds, Spurs down by 2. Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can get a clean look for Wemby. Vassell starting this possession. Have to assume you're going to try to get Chris Paul or Wemby a touch. But no, Vassell taking it all on his own. And a putback. Wow. That was sweet. Great second effort right there from Vassell. I don't know who's replacing Pop. I know he's still out. I'm unfamiliar with the guy's name. Hopefully Jokic and the Nuggets win. Honestly, I don't care who wins this one. I'm hoping both teams have fun. Yeah. Great take. Great second effort. Let's see what Denver's going to do. Are they going to give it to Jamal Murray? Are they going to trust him? He's been their closer in the past. Certainly hasn't been that guy this year. So do you just give it to Jokic? A friend told me they didn't like watching Jokic because it's all post-ups and ISOs. You can't win. You just can't win. For some people, it's the three-pointers. Other people, it's post. I don't know how you could not like watching Jokic play basketball. I'm not going to get irrationally angry. I'm going to choose to control myself, but Jokic is just so entertaining. Yeah, he's not super athletic. He's not, doing Allen Iverson dribble moves, but I think maybe your friend just doesn't realize how difficult it is to do the things that Jokic does. Because he makes the most difficult passes look very easy. And I just don't think people might not realize how advanced his processing skills are as a basketball player. The way he's reading the floor on every single possession, on some of the passes that he makes, it's not normal. Your friend right now does not know ball, but they can still be saved. Oh, that was just give the ball to Jokic right there. He was open. I don't. That was a bad timeout. I don't think you needed to take a timeout right there. I mean, I maybe we'll see a different angle, but it looked like he had Jokic right there next to him, just inbound the ball. I guess if you have the timeout, you might as well use it. But okay, fair. Cavaliers LQ, you're probably right. You know ball. I don't know ball. I got irrationally angry at Jamal Murray right there. Yeah, this was last night. Wemby playing great defense on Jokic. That was with a 1 point lead, I think, or the game was hanging in the balance right there. Uh, yeah, Wemby with the big time stop. All right, this has been an exciting couple games here. I don't know what's going on with the Warriors game, the game that I highlighted for us to watch, but we had other plans. Let me pull up the score for that. 92-86, end of the third quarter. So we will probably watch the end of that game before I get out of here. We'll finish off with that, but we'll check out what else is going on in the NBA too. Bulls are still up by 11, 5 minutes left. Looks like they might manage to steal one from New York, which would be awesome. And then there's no other games on other than this one and the Warriors game. Hawks Clippers at 10:30, but I will not be watching that game. All right, Jokic, clean look. Oh, all right, going to overtime. That was a really good look from Jokic. I feel like he hesitated a little bit. I think maybe he was hoping that he would draw a hard closeout and he'd be able to drive, but at the end of the day, you got a really good look. Yeah, they dodged a bullet for sure. Let's see this replay right here. I feel like when he caught it, he was expecting Wemby to jump out to him. Yeah, there was that moment of hesitation, probably thinking Wemby would leave his feet. Shout out to Wemby, 20 years old, staying down, understanding that he doesn't even really need to jump to contest it. He ended up leaving his feet at the end there once he could tell that Jokic was shooting it. But yeah, Jokic probably should have taken it right away. Wemby did a good job not putting himself out of position after, on the recovery, I mean, because he lost him, but they did a good job recovering. Great matchup between those two. It's a lot of fun watching Jokic and Wemby. I will sign up for that all day, every day. But we are going to switch over while we wait for overtime to start. And we'll see what's going on in Golden State, I guess. Or let's check Chicago, just because there's only 5 minutes left. And if New York is going to make a push, it would have to happen pretty soon. So we'll see right now if they don't make a push. And we have a timeout. So cool. We will check on. Oh, it's a 9-point game. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. But I'm going to go ahead and go to Golden State and hope that they're not in a timeout so we can see some basketball. Let's see. Moment of truth. All right. Basketball being played. 4-point game, 11 minutes left. Okay, yeah. So I mentioned this way earlier in the broadcast and I completely forgot about it. We talked a lot about Jimmy Butler, but I want to make sure that I mention it because I did say I was going to get to it and then I never did. But I pulled up top 5 landing destinations for Jimmy Butler. Golden State Warriors are listed on there. We talked a lot about that. The Memphis Grizzlies are one of the teams mentioned in here. I don't know if I love that for them, but I don't hate it either. I don't I don't think they're legit title contenders right now. I know they're second in the West, but I think they need one more piece. Is Jimmy Butler the answer? I don't know. They do have some spacing. I think it could be interesting. So that's something to watch for. Dallas Mavericks, I don't like it for them. I don't think they should go after Jimmy Butler. The Denver Nuggets, I don't think they should go after Jimmy Butler. I don't think that's a fit. And the New York Knicks, no, I don't like any. The USA Today, bad article. I apologize to the writer of this with bad article. Who are you going for, Warriors or Timberwolves? Huh. Probably the Timberwolves. Probably the Timberwolves. I think the Warriors are a really unique team, but they just had they started off so strong this year and they've completely fallen off. Whereas I think Minnesota could still turn things around. We'll see though. Golden State could make a trade and shake things up. But yeah, the Knicks, Dan, I don't understand. Why would the Knicks go for Jimmy Butler? I just don't understand where that came from. Let me read I don't want to just clown the person who wrote this, okay? But let's read their justification. Let me see how long this is. Is this it? Okay, it says, how close are the Knicks to a title? They had a huge offseason acquiring Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. They're 24-10, a game behind second place and 5.5 games behind first place, your Cleveland Cavaliers. But would Riley and the Heat trade Butler not only to another Eastern Conference team, but to the team Riley used to coach and left for the Heat 3 years ago? I can't see the rest of the story because it's for subscribers. So we don't know the rest of it. I don't know what his reasoning would have been. Or it's not loading for me. I don't know, but it's not showing me anything else. So the reality is I don't know what reasoning you could give for that. That just wouldn't make any sense for New York. I don't know. I mean, I guess, no, I was gonna say maybe if you need to bolster your defense, but like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby are better defenders. So who are you trading to get Jimmy Butler in the first place? You're gonna lose more. No, just no altogether. I would much rather just have Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby than the corpse of Jimmy Butler. USA Today, you get an F grade for this article. I don't know why the New York Knicks are on here. I honestly don't know why the Dallas Mavericks are on here. Memphis and Golden State, sure. But the other ones, no. Okay, the other article that I wanted to look at was the NBA Power Rankings that were posted yesterday. I haven't looked at this yet. I wanted to react to it live on stream because the Cleveland Cavaliers better be number one. But I have a feeling they could surprise me. So I guess we're going to see. Okay, no, I was not. I'm pleasantly surprised. The Cleveland Cavaliers are absolutely 100% without a doubt worthy of the number one spot in the first 2025 edition of NBA Power Rankings. But there's just one problem, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Never mind. I think they just pulled the rug out from underneath me because the Oklahoma City Thunder are actually number one. So I was baited by the opening line of the article. They fooled me. They had me in the first half. They have Oklahoma City in the number one spot, which I guess when you win 13 in a row, you deserve that. But at the same time, I'm just a little irrationally angry that Cleveland is number two, but it's okay. Number 3, they have Boston. Number 4, they have New York. Number 5, they have Memphis. I'm not too mad at that, although I do think Memphis is probably too high. I know they're winning a lot of games. I just don't really believe in them all that much. I'll just finish out the top 10 here because I mainly just wanted to see who was number 1. And then we'll get back to this game. Draymond, a three-pointer. It's crazy that Draymond, it's like for 6 years, his the three-point shot just completely vanished, and now it's back all of a sudden. The Warriors have hit 23s in this game with no Stephen Curry. That's pretty impressive. But yeah, to round out the top 10 here, they have Houston at 6th, Denver at 7th, Dallas at 8th, Orlando at 9, and the LA Clippers at 10. Interesting. The Bucks are all the way at 15th. I'd probably have them a little bit higher. The Pistons are 21st. I feel like I'd have them maybe a little higher too. I don't know. But yeah. And then the last thing that I had pulled up here that I thought was interesting, I was taking a look at the youngest cores to ever win a championship. And according to Hoops Hype, the youngest core to ever win a championship, and I'll probably bring this up on tomorrow's Cavs stream too. The 2015 Golden State Warriors. So the core, they're looking at their top three players. Average age was 25 years, 358 days when they won the title. Steph, Clay, and Draymond, average age 25 years. Number two is the 2001 Lakers at 26 years. I did the math. Donovan Mitchell's 28. Darius Garland's 24. Evan Mobley's 22, 23. I did the math earlier. I think Evan Mobley's 22 still. They would be the second youngest core to ever win a championship, is the point. And so I think that's kind of important to keep in mind how young this Cavs team still is. Like, if the championship window is open right now, and I think it is, theoretically, it should be open for a little while here. But I think right now, you got to strike while the iron is as hot as it is. I think this is their best chance to win a title right now. Obviously, you can't predict the future, but I thought that was interesting. Still a very, very young team for how good they are right now. Oh, you know what? Let's go back to that overtime, by the way. Sorry, I completely forgot to switch back. Got lost in the sauce. See what's going on in Denver, San Antonio. I agree. I think the top of the East is better than the top of the West. Because I think even if you extend that too, you look at Boston, Cleveland, and New York, that's a pretty strong top three. Whereas really you only have OKC in the West. I'm not too concerned about any other team in the West. Like, I don't think Memphis is that scary ultimately. They're a good team. I don't want to take too much away from them, but like, I don't think they're going to win the title. I don't think Houston's going to win the title. I don't think Denver has enough of a supporting cast around Jokic. We're seeing it on a nightly basis. Jokic is putting up a Herculean effort every single night just to barely scrape by in these wins. And then after that, Golden State's not in it. LA's not in it. Either LA team. Phoenix has completely fallen off the face of the earth. I think the top three in the East is very, very strong compared to, obviously the Thunder at number one are maybe the best team in the NBA with the way they're playing. But the rest, the West is not that scary to me. It'll make for some very fun playoff series. I think it'll be a bloodbath in the West, but I actually think the Eastern Conference is stronger right now. Tough shot. The Spurs coach looks like Deuce. Yeah, that shot from Jokic is just unfair. See if Jokic can get some revenge on Wemby after last night. Here we go. Strips him. Wide open look. Clanked it. I feel like Westbrook has been so huge for the Nuggets. Just his energy. Just have someone out there who cares and tries really, really hard next to Jokic goes a long way. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Jokic missed the easy one. Wemby almost gets back in there to block it, but he manages to save it. All right, yeah, it's a 7-point game. Jokic another steal almost. Chris Paul not even looking to shoot. Need this. Uh-oh. All right, you need to score on this possession. I'm going to try and check the score on these other games real quick because I know the Knicks have to be coming down to the wire. Oh, they're down 13, 40 seconds left. Looks like New York takes the L. We got Milwaukee and New York taking an L tonight. Let's go. Taking an L to Chicago, too. That's sweet. Cat had 44 points, 44 and 16. Brunson had 33. And you lose to the Chicago Bulls. Let's see what was going on in Chicago. Zach LaVine had 33. Kobe White had 33. Vucevic had 22. Giddey had 15 and 10. He almost had a triple double. Yeah, shout out to Chicago. I mean, they should be tanking. They have no reason to be winning, but well, they're about to improve to 16 and 19. Good for them. Glad they beat New York. Good for the Cavs, yeah. This is going to be New York's 12th loss. They've tripled the amount of losses as us. Can't even imagine what it would be like losing 12 games already. In and out. Whoa. That could have been not necessarily the dagger, but that would have completely changed this game. But if San Antonio is able to score right here, the door is back open. Ah, see, that's a situation where again, Wemby has to realize he's like 8 inches taller than Peyton Watson. He didn't need to bring the ball down that low. Trying to cross over. Got stripped by Jokic earlier too. Obviously, he can't just abuse Jokic the same way he could abuse Watson, but at that point, he caught the ball at the elbow. Probably just spin into a fall away jumper or spin back and try to get to the rim, but got cute with it, trying to hit a crossover. Yeah, back-to-back 40-point games just makes it look so easy. Murray got a paper cut. All right, so San Antonio really can't afford to have any empty possessions the rest of the way. Look at that. 44 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. Generational talent. First player in NBA history to score 40 points in back-to-back without jumping. Yeah, I haven't seen him jump yet tonight. Drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Nikola Jokic. Who would have thought? All right, need a bucket here. Got to keep the door open. Nice take from Vassell. Really strong take. Just sheds Westbrook. Seems like he's had a good game in the minutes that we've watched. 19 points. All right, 4-point game. As the announcers just said, get a stop here. Nice take right there. Yeah, he doesn't have the lateral quickness as much. I don't think. Still has that straight line drive speed, but defensively he's a bit of a turnstile. Chris Paul, wow, you don't see him miss that very often. Even in his whatever season he's in, 18th and 19th season, that's his go-to shot right there. I feel like I've been watching that for 20 years. So yeah, that's probably game. We'll watch this last possession here. I think the only other game on is our Golden State Warriors game, so we'll head back to that to finish off the night. Yeah, that's game. Wemby just barely couldn't get a hand on that. So nice response from Jokic and the Nuggets after losing last night to San Antonio. Bounce back, get a dub in overtime. Jokic almost 50 points. I'm going to switch over to Golden State to round out our night. Yeah, I would love if the Clips beat the Hawks. This would be a perfect night for the Cavs standings. Not that I'm worried about Atlanta creeping up on us, but just for the Cavs agendas. And you know what? We might get a Golden State loss too, just to feel good. Yeah, Jokic, his touch is unbelievable. I mean, I think he has the softest touch I've ever seen from an NBA player. He puts the ball up on the rim and it just dies. Well, Cleveland Cavaliers, they'll have a chance to do that on January 30th, so hopefully they do. It would feel good to beat Atlanta. Yeah, it's like a golfer laying it up on the green. I mean, everything is like a floater. Even his jump shots, it's so high arcing. The spin is perfect. Even if he hits the rim, it still seems like it's going to drop in somehow. And I really love, like we saw during the little highlights that they showed, he's not a lob threat, obviously, but when his teammates throw entry passes or like the lob passes in the post, a lot of times he'll just like redirect it into the rim. He doesn't even like fully catch it. He just kind of redirects their pass to the rim. It's very interesting. I can't think of many. I don't know if I can think of any other NBA player who would do that the way that Jokic does. You just throw it up to him, and he's basically just like tapping the ball into the rim. It's very interesting. Yeah, it would always feel good to beat Miami, Atlanta, Boston. I'm hoping that we beat OKC uh, in at least one of these matchups coming up in January, if not both. Just for the agendas, just for the narrative, right? Like I just read those power rankings. OKC's being ranked ahead of us right now. It'd be a pretty nice statement to beat them, if not, once, even twice, right? Like if you beat them twice, that'd feel amazing. We got L's from three teams: Boston, Miami, and then we lost to Atlanta twice. The Jokic origin story, yeah. However they trained that dude, throwing the egg into a bed of nails without breaking it, that actually sounds like, if you want to develop soft touch, maybe that's what he was doing. Some weird Serbian training methods. Yeah. Yeah, they focus more on his soft touch than getting him into peak basketball shape. But honestly, like that physique works for him. He's such a bully with his weight. Like he doesn't even need to jump, like we mentioned. I mean, you're not moving him. He's getting to his spot, and you are not moving him. Atlanta and Clippers just came on. We probably won't watch any of that. Maybe we could flip back over there during a timeout, but I'm gonna get down to the last 8 minutes of this game and then head out for the night. But that could be a good game. The Clippers have been playing good basketball. Atlanta, obviously, we know this. I don't know what's happened on that inbound play. What the hell is Memphis doing? That was you never want to turn the ball over like that. I don't know what happened right there. Yeah, and the announcers are saying it right now. I don't understand what the other three players on Memphis was doing right there. Is Golden State better without Stephen Curry? Someone type up the story right now. Ooh, Jaren Jackson missed that layup, but his growth the last two seasons, as far as taking defenders off the dribble, it's been pretty sweet to see. We've seen a lot of Evan Mobley beating players off the dribble this year. There was a good video on Twitter posted today of all of his drive, not all of his drives this season, but like a highlight montage of his drives. And I tweeted about it, but just the way that he's able to absorb contact, like you see in those clips, defenders trying to get physical with him and wall him off, and he's taking that hit, staying on his feet, keeping his balance, and then plowing right through them. It's been awesome to see. And Mobley isn't as built as Jaren Jackson, but just kind of reminds me of both of them having some interesting offensive development in their careers. Like here we see Jaren Jackson again, all the way to the rim, and he is much stronger. So he's able to just plow through that contact. But we're seeing Mobley doing a little bit of it too. Yeah, old kid, don't even remind me. The high low, that was like that was the greatest gift on earth. And unfortunately, it's gone. I don't know if there's any. Does anyone know any alternatives? Are there any other alternatives? I don't know where we find NBA clips now, but hopefully, I mean, I feel like what's going to happen is the NBA probably at some point will release like a version of it that you have to pay for, and I will probably end up paying for it, but I'm not going to be happy about it because the high low is so great. Yeah, but like bring that feature to the NBA, like the NBA website, because it was so convenient. I don't know if you've ever tried to use the NBA advanced box scores, but it's literally a nightmare. Half the time the clips don't even show up. You'll click on it and it'll say footage not available or whatever. Dylan, as far as I know, and I don't know if this is confirmed, but as far as I know, that shot creator website that I think it released this season, they were running ads on their website and trying to like profit off of the clips. And I think that got the NBA's attention and they just shut down all of it. I don't think the high-low ran any ads. And so they were able to get away with it for a while. But yeah, the NBA crack down on it. I don't know for sure. Really, I don't know if that's been confirmed that that's why, but I saw Twitter threads of people theorizing that because Shot Creator was trying to profit off of it, the NBA stepped in. Yeah, you can't string the videos like the high low. Again, if you wanted to watch every single Evan Mobley drive, you could type in Evan Mobley, or you click 2-point makes, assisted, unassisted, and then you just type in driving layup or driving dunk, and it would it would show you literally every single possession where Evan Mobley was driving to the rim, make or miss, in one playlist that would just play each clip like 5-10 second clips, one after another. If you wanted to download them, it was 2 clicks. You just click the little 3 buttons on the bottom right and then click download. NBA Advanced Box Scores, on my MacBook, it doesn't allow me to download them anymore. I know Jackson said that he can on his computer. So I don't know if that's just a MacBook thing. But yeah, the NBA Advanced Box Scores suck. Dylan, I'm telling you, the high-low was such a blessing. It was so easy to find clips. It was so easy to download them. You could filter by all different types of shot attempts, whether it was a floating, like a floater, a fadeaway, a step back. Like it was so easy to find all of it. You could even find defended field goals, which was great. Like if you wanted to look at Dean Wade's defended 2-point field goals, defended 3-point field goals, steals, blocks, all that, assists. And I agree. I do think it's a net positive for the Cavs because of all the so many content creators. I would assume most of the NBA content creators that use a lot of clips in their videos were probably using the high-low. And so I've been wondering, because this just happened pretty recently, like last week or so. I've been wondering like how their content's going to change. I've been wondering what I'm going to do for my own YouTube content, like how I'm going to find clips for my Cavs stuff. Because I mean, yeah, I literally, it not only does it change the way that I'm going to make content, but it's also unfortunate because a lot of times if I wanted to all right, let me sit down and see what's different for Evan Mobley this year, I'd go to the high-low and just watch all of his drives or all of his misses or all of his turnovers and stuff like that. And when you're able to watch it all back to back to back and the playlist that it would give you of just, you see literally every single one all right there, you start to pick up on things, trends, habits, the way that Mobley's playing, like the little quirks to it. And when you can't see that and it's not accessible, it just makes everything a lot harder. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'd imagine a lot of NBA content creators are going to be struggling with that. So hopefully we get some sort of alternative soon. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Good to see you, Tony. Mobley Island's had a surge in tourism since I saw a stream. Demo, welcome, man. Yeah, I don't know if you saw any of the recent streams or any of the 2025 streams, but I caught the flu at the end of December. Just barely made it to 2025, but I'm here. I made it. I survived. So it's really good to be back. It's good to see you, man. Mobley Island has been it's been unbelievable. I mean, it's a utopia. It's an absolute paradise. I think we are officially moving from, at the start of the year, it was like, is Evan Mobley going to be an all-star? Does he have an all-star case? I think we've officially moved past that. I think we need to start talking, is Evan Mobley going to be an all-NBA player, as Demo just said? I think if Evan Mobley's not an all-star, we're storming the NBA headquarters. We're storming Secaucus, all right? The Replay Center, wherever. We're going to storm something. He's going to be an all-star. Is he going to be an all-NBA player? I want to, do a deep dive into it and try and figure out, who would be an all-NBA. Probably third team. If it's going to happen, I don't think he would be first or second. But, yeah, I'd have to – the thing that makes all-NBA difficult is that it's not positional anymore. So I'd have to sit down and look at who I would, try to be unbiased and think of, who would be on all-NBA, a lock, and then how many places are still open for debate. Because I feel like the first team is probably a lock. I don't know exactly who it would be, but I'm sure you could lock in 5 guys ahead of Mobley. You could probably lock in the entire second team All NBA ahead of Mobley. Then after that, maybe there's some spots open on the third team, and I would love to get him there. Because when you think about it, let's say the Cavs win. I'll be conservative and say let's say the Cavs win 65 games. Right now they're on pace for 72. Let's say they just win 65 and they're the best team in the NBA. They win 65 games, number one record in the NBA. You're telling me they only get one All NBA guy, Donovan Mitchell? Like you're telling me it's only one? I don't know, man. That seems crooked. They should get two probably. Um, and I think I would give it to Evan Mobley over Darius Garland. The guards are just there's so many amazing guards in the NBA. It would be hard for Garland to get in there. But Mobley, I mean, so I'm doing this off the top of my head, so don't hold me to any of these takes, but I've already thought about the Eastern Conference, right? And I think the only big men, quote big men, like power forward centers in the Eastern Conference who are better or having a better season than Evan Mobley. Well, actually, no. If I'm thinking All NBA, this changes the conversation because I was including Joel Embiid in that. But if we're talking All NBA, Joel Embiid's not going to be All NBA. He's not going to play the 65 games. So it's Cat and Giannis, old kid. Yeah, it's those two. Cat's been pretty available. I'm assuming he's gonna be able to play 65 games. Does Cat make All NBA over Mobley? I will say yes. Just I'm not necessarily speaking on my own vote there. But just like I feel like Cat playing in New York, having the season he's had, he's has a better chance of All NBA than Evan Mobley probably. Tatum, Demo, I'm not counting Tatum. He's technically a front court player, so I get what you're saying. He's probably All NBA. But I'm just talking like big men, so like Embiid, Giannis, Cat. In the Western Conference, I know it's not positional, so this is almost like a pointless way to frame it. But in the Western Conference, it's like, okay, Jokic is obviously better than Mobley. Anthony Davis? Does Anthony Davis make All NBA over Mobley? At that point, Anthony Davis would deserve it. But at that point, I'm just thinking of the gap between the team success. And it's like, it would feel kind of wrong to give Anthony Davis All NBA over Evan Mobley, I think. I'm kind of blanking on other big men in the Western Conference. Am I forgetting someone? Sabonis definitely doesn't deserve it. Chet isn't going to hit the games. Jaren Jackson Jr., I guess, is in the conversation, but I think I would give Mobley the nod there. Sengun could be in there. Wemby, yes. I knew I was forgetting someone. We literally just watched him. Wemby All NBA, I'd probably give him the nod for second team. Even though the team success, there's a huge gap between the Cavs and the Spurs, but Wemby's just, unbelievable. And Golden State looks like they just put this game away, by the way. 10-point lead, a minute left. So, yeah, when you start, hopefully tomorrow I'll be doing the Cavs stream, Cavs versus Hornets. I'll try and sit down before the stream and make my All-NBA list so far and see if there's any shot of Mobley making it in there. I'm going to try and write, like, who I think is guaranteed a spot and then how many spots are open for debate. Because right now I think, like, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, to a degree, they'll probably make All NBA, but I think you could start to argue Evan Mobley over them. So that's what I'll try and whittle it down to is like, who could I make a case that Evan Mobley should be over them? And how realistic is it? And I think, unfortunately, where we're going to see is there's so many guards that are going to be All NBA. It's like you have Shea, Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if Devin Booker is going to get the recognition because of where he is, where their team is. But like Ja Morant, I don't know if Ja Morant will hit the 65 game mark. That's the other thing I have to see who is even on pace to hit that 65 game mark because that changes everything. So I'll try and have a more coherent list of where the All NBA standings look for Evan Mobley. Ty Jerome, he's going to be in there. Yeah, the Warriors broke away in this game. I think if it was positional, he would have a better chance, old kid. I think because I think the centers are the ones who have taken the biggest hits from the change here. And honestly, I don't like it. I don't agree with the All NBA being not positional. I think it should be positional. I understand that we have moved into a new era of basketball where positions. But that's the thing. We really haven't moved into an era of basketball where there aren't positions. there's very much still positions. I know the narrative has kind of gotten to the point where we act like it's a positionless game, but there's still positions. Every team is still playing a point guard, a shooting guard. It's like you have your guards, your wings, and your bigs, right? It's not as defined as like point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, but you have guards, wings, and bigs. And so I feel like all NBA, it should be rather than going completely and removing positions altogether, it should be like guards, bigs, and wings. I think that's what it should be. If I'm correct, I think they completely remove positions altogether. I don't even think it's backcourt, front court, right? I think it's just literally you can vote for anybody. Because yeah, Demo says all you needed was 2 backcourt, 3 front court. I think that would be a good solution, and that's not what it is. Correct? It's just literally no positional. Yeah, it's totally positionless. Not sure why they did that. Because the NBA is certainly not positionless. It's not as rigid and defined as it was back in the day, but it's certainly not positionless. All right, exclamation point there. Slow mo with the slow mo N1. Kawhi Leonard making his debut, by the way. I forgot about that. Rudy on third team every year. That was a little crazy. How many All NBAs does Rudy Gobert have? I'm a known Rudy Gobert hater, but I probably don't give him the credit that he deserves. But yeah, Slow-Mo didn't play against the Cavs. He's a good pickup for the Warriors. He just fits their system. Just a really good connective playmaking big. Rudy Gobert has made. Oh wait, has he not made All NBA? Basketball Reference isn't. Oh, 4-time All NBA. Okay, the Basketball Reference had it hidden. I had to click Show More. You would think that would be like one of the first things that shows up, but yeah, 4-time All NBA. Yeah, Demo. That same thing happened to me. You had to Show More. 4-time All NBA. And you know what? I'm really not trying to be a shameless Rudy Gobert hater, but like really, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year too. Like we won't open that discussion. We don't have to do a Rudy Gobert retrospective right now. I do think it's wild that Anthony Davis never won the award. I'll just say that. I know he had some injured seasons there, but I just feel like when you look at how versatile Anthony Davis is, well, let's be real. He's basically just as good of a rim protector. I know you can point to all the advanced analytics, and I won't throw advanced analytics out the window, but Anthony Davis, I think, has always been a better defender than Rudy Gobert. But maybe that's a hot take. Maybe it's not. I'm dropping it at the end of the stream either way. And I agree, Demo. I felt that same exact way when Evan Mobley didn't win his sophomore year, when Jaren Jackson Jr. won the award and Brook Lopez was ahead of him and everything. I thought to myself, they didn't give Evan Mobley the award because it's only a sophomore season and everyone's under the assumption that he's going to be able to win more in the future. But that might have been his best shot. And I feel like the same thing happened with Anthony Davis, where everyone, for the longest time throughout his early seasons, they just thought, well, he's going to be in the race every year for the next 10 years. So we don't need to give it to him now. Let's reward someone else. What happens? He ends up not winning the award, despite arguably being the best defender in the world for most of his career. Evan Mobley, 10th. Yeah, he's going to be a 10-time Defensive Player of the Year finalist. We'll see. It sounds like the media, the narrative has already basically given Wembanyama the award this year, and I can't necessarily complain too much because he is such an unbelievable talent. But hey, Evan Mobley, the award shouldn't be decided yet. It sounds like it mostly has been, but I don't think it should be decided yet. And of course, as we move forward through Mobley's career, if he's able to be available and play those 65 games every year, there's always going to be a chance that someone gets injured and the door opens. But yeah, either way, I'm just happy Evan Mobley's putting it together on both ends of the floor. And of course, he should be Rookie of the Year. In my heart, he is Rookie of the Year. But he'll make up for it this year. He'll be an All-Star. Maybe he'll be an All-NBA player. Maybe he'll be a Finals MVP. Maybe he'll win a championship. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, Finals MVP, Evan Mobley. That would be one hell of a sight to see. But yeah, I will be back tomorrow. I think the game's at 6 o'clock. So it's a Sunday game, weird tip off, but I will be here at 6 o'clock. We will be discussing the Evan Mobley Finals MVP agenda. This was a pretty fun stream. We had some good games. The Golden State Warriors game that was at the top of our list here. We didn't watch too much of, but we had some good games, some overtime games, some thrilling games. Milwaukee lost, New York lost, Cavs Hornets tomorrow. Let's get another dub. Let's extend this win streak to 10. Keep the win streak alive so that we can face OKC. And yeah, that's going to do it for this stream. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow. And until then, go Cavs.